Welcome to Cinemagna.
Without evidence, you would certainly not believe that giant lizards roamed the earth at one point, but we do have evidence. It's buried in the ground in fossils and in museums around the world, and it forces a child to just imagine what that could be like. And that's all we could do was humor, innovative technology, both as like a story point in the film, but also as a narrative around making this film. I mean, we're pioneering brand new technologies to make this film. We have more dinosaurs than you've ever seen in a Jurassic film.
I met Colin Trevorrow, and he sort of hinted something to me. And Steven Spielberg then called me more formally to ask, how I would feel about the idea of his kids, single, independent, and frankly, living the Alan Grant life and loving it, as she says in the film, is kind of a gorgeous start to the feeling of the original film, to complete this story with that same tactile, incredible gift of the animatronics. He has John Nolan creating genius and magic with a team of extraordinary artists, painters, puppeteers, and you walk on set and are either completely disgusted or in awe or both, or your mouth is agape and you're seeing something you can't believe is there. And sometimes it's magical and so sweet, and sometimes it's your worst nightmare. But they make all of it come alive.
I'm terrifically affectionate towards Sam. I adore him. Gee, he's a nice fella and an interesting fellow and a very beautiful man, and inside and out. And he has what he's accomplished. His career is impressive, spectacular, important. He's an international treasure, and an art treasure. He's worked with so many interesting people, and his own sensibility and talent and sensitivity and unique intelligence and unique sensibility is so beautiful. So beautiful. What can you say about the great Laura Dern? She's now, as we sit here, just one still in the full blush of the afterglow of having won her Oscar for a Marriage Story, and she's just, the whole world knows now and will come to know as she grows even more into the richest kind of artist. I look forward to the next decades of what she's going to do, and it's just, I can imagine it's golden. She's just great. And so she's always growing as a genuine artist and as an actor and as a deep humanistic activist, orator, articulator, eloquent, passionate member of the human family and the world community. She's just as impressive and inspirational and admirable a figure as anybody I can think of, and a dear friend. I'll tell you, Colin Trevorrow, he's good. He's a good director. He's a wonderful director. He not only is a young man of extreme radical talent and intelligence, but sensitivity and humility and sweetness and decisive confidence in working with actors. At least I feel like I have a very simpatico relationship with him, not only palsy-wise, but creatively.
Kayla is a contract pilot. And she often works for corporations like Biosin. And sometimes she sells dinosaurs at the underground market, which is primarily where we first meet her. We meet her initially on the tarmac, and then after that, we meet her in her natural habitat at the underground market. I'm interested in the moral compass. I love this question of, being a hero and this notion of morality, because I think, at Kayla's heart, there are all these things these qualities, integrity and honor and community that she was raised with. And absolutely, if you train in the military, I was in like JROTC in high school. So if you train for any moment, in any branch of the military, you're gonna you're gonna walk away with so many really beautiful and noble qualities. But part of what I really responded to in Kayla was that she isn't perfect at all. That you kind of like witness her grow in her morality, and you watch her grapple with her conscience. I feel beyond honored to join this franchise in particular. I think from inception, it's been diverse. From the very beginning, it's had great roles for women. Like, Nerd Status went and read the books afterwards. It's probably, I don't know if there's a better fit for my franchise debut. I'm calling it my franchise debut. I don't actually know if that's a thing, but it is now. But yeah, it's just, it has the kind of incredibly long history, and there's just so much more to explore in terms of our relationship, the human relationship with our environment, with our call to take care of the earth.
In Jurassic World 3 Dominion, you will see the original cast members back. You'll see Laura Dern and Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum. B.D. Wong has never left, but he will be back in scenes with everybody. And it's just an opportunity that it's thrilling to think that 19 years ago, Laura Dern and Sam Neill did their last sort of performances in this, and now they're coming back. They are thrilled to be back. From the very beginning of doing Jurassic World 1, it became apparent that at some point we needed to get off the island, because we could just have sort of kept going back there and sort of milking that same sort of scenery and those same kind of storylines forever and ever. And how to get off the island. I mean, we had to blow up the island in order to get off of it. So it was then, where would we go? What would we do? And that's probably the thinnest ice that we've been on, is taking the dinosaurs off the island and putting them in the real world. And it's a real challenge to do it well, to execute it so that people actually feel that they could be living in a world in which there's a raptor running down the street, or there's a big, slow, lumbering herbivore coming down, the Hollywood freeway. And that's something that was really challenging and difficult to shape. But the end of Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic World 2, really sets that up well. We've taken the dinosaurs, we've saved all the dinosaurs, we've brought them to Northern California. And that's where we pick up now, is at that point.
There have never been more dinosaurs than there are in Dominion in a movie. Like maximum amount of dinosaurs in this movie that we're making. Because there is proliferation and because the dinosaurs are everywhere, you see dinosaurs in snow, you see dinosaurs in cities. There are more characters because there are more set pieces, because there are more dinosaurs. There's a larger tapestry that Colin is creating for us as an audience. And it's really exciting because it's new. it feels really fresh. Like you haven't seen Jurassic like this ever before. She's like Han Solo, you know? Like she's this pilot, you know, ex-military, just a total boss, has gotten into some shady business, and that's the moment in which, you know, Claire and Owen and Kayla's story intersects. Jurassic is a very pro-female franchise. If you think about it, as it started, all the dinosaurs were women. They were women. All the dinosaurs were female. And they're inherent in that there's sort of the idealization of that female strength, female power.
First thing they asked was, is it a cameo? And we said, no, it's a real role. And then once they heard that they were actually in the movie for a bit and working together and they were all coming together, they were totally in. They love these movies, they love this franchise, and the fact that they could all be back together in one big story was very appealing. One of the great things about having dinosaurs in the movie is that you're never going to run out of them. There's always a new species, and I continue to say, well, there's going to be more and more, and in this movie, we have some incredible new dinosaurs to look at and to watch behave.
Ramsay's job is the head of communications. That apparently covers a wide array of responsibilities at Bison. But yeah, that's his title officially. But he's also being groomed by Campbell Scott's character, Lewis Dodgson, who was in the first film. He's being groomed as like kind of his second in command. So I think that's where kind of a lot of his like kind of tentacles get spread around a bit. I grew up with this and these characters, and it was just kind of cool to be in like this like enclosed space with Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler. You know, it was awesome, and they were so cool. So I had a really great first day. Very, very surreal. Colin is fascinating because he knows so much about the camera as well as like just talking with actors, and he can flip between those two in a dime. Not to say the other directors I've worked with haven't, but like I've never done a movie like this, and a lot of this kind of movie has a lot to do with like camera and like just it's kind of hard to explain, but there's so many different moving pieces in this kind of movie, and then for him to have like the bandwidth to like really talk like this actor language after setting up all these shots and like the animatronic stuff and dealing with all that stuff is kind of like wizard-like, I think. And yeah, he's a great guy. He's the greatest guy. I mean, you can't just have a 3-hour conversation first meeting someone and not like enjoy it. You know, I really like, I just like the guy a lot. Like I love him. He's awesome. And it's been, and I've gotten to learn quite a bit about the camera, talking with him and John Schwartzman and the camera team as well. So it's, yeah, you really couldn't ask for a better actor-director working relationship, at least as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, it's been kind of a dream. He's the man.
It's not that he dislikes Ian Malcolm, it's just they're very different sort of people. And Ian Malcolm is everything that Grant isn't. He's urbane, he's witty, he's articulate, he's comfortable around people, he's celebrated in the outside world. Whereas Alan Grant is not a people person. He just likes digging. I've kind of fallen in love with Colin. I just think, you know, his enthusiasm, his energy, his boundless kind of his boundless optimism. He loves these films. He loves directing. He loves actors. And you can't ask for anything more in a director, really. You know, he's just great. It's going to be a fantastic lot of fun to watch, and epic in scope. is going to be funny and exciting, and you'll scream and laugh and do all the things that this sort of film should do. This is sort of back to basics in the best possible sense, in that we're working with three-dimensional, living, breathing dinosaurs. These are extraordinary creatures. And to be able to work with the 3D thing rather than it's right here in your face, makes life so much more vivid.
Obviously, I went and looked at some of the things, what people were saying about him. And a lot of the stuff was, interestingly, about the books, and even people who had written comments from the first movie, how, if Dodgson ever comes back, how we'll be involved. There are kind of, I guess you'd say, sort of archetypal things that happen in the first movie, mostly to do with, that involve Dodgson, but mostly that have to do with Wayne Knight's character and his death, and people remember how they smuggled the dinosaurs and things like that, the dinosaur embryos, and so I think it certainly seems like people are interested, like how are they going to work them in, how are they going to, and Colin and Emily and everybody have done a pretty amazing job of both hopefully satisfying that curiosity, but also making something we haven't seen before. Lewis Dodgson is, as we say, from the earlier from the books and from the earlier film, and he still is that person. InGen was the original company that was working on the dinosaurs and funded by Attenborough's character and Jamie Cromwell's character from later on. Had a rival company in the books, Biosyn, and that is, and Lewis worked for them, and he is now become the CEO, or the man who runs that company. They are a genetic research science company, but they've always a little less like. A little less than InGen. They've operated kind of on the shady side of things, and certainly in the books, I mean, Lewis is he will basically stop at nothing to kind of get information, steal information, get it from wherever he can.
Both as a person and for Maisie's character, it's so important to have these female role models. Maisie as a character has grown up with Claire as a mother who's a really strong, fierce, fiery, independent woman, and also Ellie, who's so intellectual and clever and also really strong and powerful. And now she's been brought Dewanda's character, Kayla, who's a hard, scary pilot who's super fierce and tough. And I think it's really great to have those influences on her, and also for me it's been really amazing to work with such strong independent women. The threat levels and the danger levels are so much higher in this film because the dinosaurs are walking amongst us, and because in the normal Jurassic films you have to deal with the dinosaurs in one enclosed space, but then also actual manual problems and malfunctions like systems shutting down or cars crashing. But then in this film I would say they're both really blended, so the dinosaurs are sort of part of the humanity that we live in, and I think that makes it a lot more interesting to watch.
The most important decision that any of us made was that we were going to take these characters who we love and thrust them into a new adventure and send them into danger yet again. They weren't going to be observing this from afar. They were going to be engaged from the very beginning. The plot actually is driven by Ellie's story and by Grant's story. In this film, even though we have more animatronics than ever, we have more dinosaur species than ever, every time you see one, I hope that is a moment of wonder, a unique moment of wonder unto itself. If a new dinosaur is coming into the film, it's going to get a hero's entrance just like the actors do. I love the idea that the kind of adventurer that would exist in a world in which dinosaurs and humans both walk the earth, that was a new character I haven't seen before. And we got to create her from scratch. And so Kayla Watts is a cargo pilot who flies dinosaurs all around the world, and used to be in the Air Force, and got into a world that has some pretty shady characters in it, and having to navigate that world and see how it's probably made her not trust anybody, and probably not really willing to thrust herself into a situation where she's going to put herself, at risk for others. And that's the change she goes through in this movie. Is you see her witness a situation that she actually could have a real hand in doing some good. From the beginning, we really wanted to make something that was new enough and fresh enough that it could give people a reason to come back to the theater, and also give kids a reason to hopefully go back and watch the original films. The first trilogy had 3 characters who we loved, and then the sequels were about Owen and Claire, who hopefully we also care about. And now in the case of Dominion, we wanted to integrate them and make the case that this was actually one long story from the very beginning. The thing that makes people love dinosaur movies in general is that we know they were real. They're not aliens, they're not monsters. They were real animals that existed on this planet. So when you see them on screen, you feel like you're watching something that's actually happening. It is a specialized craft to see what John Nolan was capable of, and to be able to give him the opportunity, not just to make animatronics for a Jurassic movie, but to make more than had ever been made for a single movie, just excited me.
With a character like this that is known already, reintroducing this character and trying to tell some kind of story with him, his presence physically is important, and so what we've done is create a different version of the same person, so that one can, and without saying a lot, understand somehow visually that a lot of time has passed and a lot of, there has been a change within him. He is a scientist, which I equate with kind of being like an artist in a corporate environment. And the corporate environment is mandating his actions and his work. And this is the same, this is part of the franchise really, that we re-examine that phenomenon of corporation versus science or art.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and comment on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when new videos are released.